Welcome to another episode of Love and Reality Podcast. I am your host, Ricky Valero. On today's episode, I am going to be breaking down Season 2, Episode 10 of The Traitors. This is the last episode before the finale, and folks, it was a very, very good one. A little bit of a programming note. Next week, live after the final episode and the reunion, I will be going live right here on YouTube. So I think it starts at 8 p.m. Eastern time. So at 10 p.m. Eastern time, after reunion is over, I will be hopping on the YouTube live to talk everything that went down on the finale and in the reunion. Who do we think's taking it home? I'd love to hear your thoughts. Is the traitor going to walk away with the money, or will the faithfuls reign supreme? It's something that is going to be interesting to find out. First off, I just want to thank everybody for the continued support here of the Love and Reality Podcast as we dive each and every week into the Traitors. Obviously, if you follow along, we've been diving headfirst into Season 6 episodes 1 through 11 of Love is Blind. Those recaps are up. Of course, this coming Wednesday is the finale of Love is Blind Season 6. The weddings are happening with the reunion happening after that. Another programming note for that as well. I will be going live as soon as the reunion is over right here on the YouTube channel. I will have some guests on both shows. Hopefully they join me and share their thoughts on the season finale of the reunion of Love is Blind Season 6. But without further ado, we have dwindled down to these last 2 episodes. And of course, we are back after that incredibly rude cliffhanger that they left us on last week, with the votes being tied between Peter and Phaedra, where we had 4-4 while we were awaiting to see MJ's vote and who would be the next person to banish from the show. Of course, MJ announces that she doesn't like this part of the game and said there's more evidence going in the direction of Peter. All right, Peter gets up and of course he announces to the world that he is not a traitor. Cherie, MJ are freaking out because how did they get this wrong? Well, duh. Trishelle's been telling you for back-to-back banishment ceremony roundtables that you've been getting it wrong. Obviously, Alan rubs it in, saying the innocent faithful has been eliminated. All right, time is running out. The traitors will meet again tonight to murder someone. Of course, John is frustrated, as are some of the other ladies. Trishelle said she's going to go home for this, but still believes it is Phaedra. She is saying this to Kate, MJ, and Sandra. Kate asked John if this game is more complicated than politics, and they joke about it. He says yes. MJ walks in, and CT said that he and John are enjoying his final moments together. John's final moments in the show. Obviously, CT does have the shield, and she says, "We don't know how tonight will play out." He said, "Whatever helps you justify it," talking about her casting that final vote at the table to keep Phaedra in the game. Everybody believes Phaedra is a traitor. Obviously, MJ tells the cameras he is upset to have voted out they have voted out yet another faithful. MJ tells the camera she is upset to have voted out a faithful. MJ tells CT that their arguments for Phaedra were weak. But at the same time, she says she feels bad for Peter. CT is not thrilled. Senda and Cherie are talking with Phaedra about how she felt about the round table. Phaedra says she doesn't understand and didn't understand the whole entire CT thing. The lovebirds have some problems. Cherie says that they are gunning for Phaedra and she doesn't believe she a traitor, but she said Phaedra isn't doing a good job of defending herself. It's hilarious to me how she has got these people fooled the way she does. You have to credit her for the incredible gameplay that she's had here. You know, they might be her girls, but nothing's slipping through the cracks. It's traitor meeting time. Kate said Phaedra has been sloppy, but she's sticking with her fellow Bravo girl. Phaedra makes fun of John. Phaedra mentions she had the support from the ladies. She said this CT switched up on her ass, and she didn't like that. Kate said, "Let's play the numbers game." Phaedra said she has to make the right murder the right person tonight. and it's between John and Trishelle. I've said this once, and I've said this 1,000 times. This was a terrible, terrible, terrible idea. This idea would turn around and bite her in the ass. Of course, if you've seen the episode, you know. I've said this from before. They should have thrown a curveball. Okay, let's just think about this for 1 second. All right, put it on the table here. Let me hear your guys' thoughts on this, okay? Phaedra, we eliminate, let's just say, Sandra, right? Sandra's eliminated, sends shockwaves through the house. We're like, what is going on? So then you have Kate, Phaedra, MJ, and Cherie, right? There's 4 votes. Trishelle, CT, and John. What's the numbers here? What's math, right? We got 4-3, right? 4-3. That still gives you the numbers, and then it throws the scent off of your back. So it's crazy to me that we're sitting here having these conversations because they just blew it. She should have gotten rid of like Sandra or even one of the Bravo girls, because you could have flipped the script here to make it look like, oh no, well maybe CT is the person. Maybe CT is a traitor, or maybe MJ is a traitor. You know, get rid of somebody else to throw the scent off of you. But that was probably the only thing that I really felt like that Phaedra kind of got tunnel vision, and that's the same thing that happened to Poverty. Okay, that's the same thing that happened to her. That being said, Kate said this is your decision. They're all coming for you tomorrow. People start trickling in one by one. CT and Phaedra embrace, which was hilarious. She said she was slightly disappointed, but all is fair in love and war. Got power couple of the century just on this show. I love it. I just love CT. Like I'm not super familiar with his game. Not a big challenge guy. I've heard things. My brother likes to talk up CT quite a bit and talk about how he's a hell of a game player and stuff like that. But Kate's name is brought up at the table. Phaedra said she's a faithful. CT goes, do you think anyone is a traitor? And CT said to the camera, and she said that she thinks she's being suspicious. In front of everyone, she is poking the bear. Phaedra tells the camera that she knows she has to make it through tonight, and she is good. The problem here is this. When you're confronted with the idea of who potentially could be a traitor, she gave the Dan answer. And the Dan answer is what Dan ultimately led for Dan to be eliminated again. So Phaedra, I felt like the pressure of being at the round table continuously over and over again kind of started to like take a toll on her. She's a strong woman. She's been killing this, but it's like, all right, guys, I'm tired of going to these banishment tables and having to save my ass and come up with these quick-witted one-liners. I want out. You know what I mean? Almost. But Cherie comes in, that she believes in her heart that Phaedra isn't a traitor, but if she isn't, then who is? We are down to John, Kate, and Trishelle. MJ tells the camera if John or Trishelle don't walk through the door, Phaedra could be a traitor, and then she's not happy at that thought. The final knock on the door, it's Kate and Trishelle, meaning John has been murdered. MJ looks at the camera and says, it's got to be Phaedra. Again, you kill the one person that you shouldn't have killed. Trishelle or John are the two people you could not kill, or you were going to put your feet to the fire. John reads his murder letter. Of course, John isn't surprised. Sad news, if you listened to my interview last week with Kevin Kreider, they don't get to keep the letter. Maybe they'll send it to him after. I was thinking about this as well. They filmed this a while ago, so maybe they didn't want him to keep it just in case somebody saw the letter or anything like that, so that maybe they'll send it to him after the fact. Let's see here. Trishelle knows, and she has to try to convince Cherie, Kate, and MJ that Phaedra is a traitor. CT raises his toast with a hilarious mimicking of John's voice. MJ said she thinks that there is 2 traitors left. Worst case scenario, there could be 3. That would be like 3. Like, where did that even come from? Alan has arrived, announced that the mission coming. They will have to cross the bridge when they get there. CT is mucking it up with being the only guy left on the show. He says he feels like he's on a dating show now. He said the jokes that whoever wins the mission later gets a one-on-one date with him. man's a national treasure. Sorry, guys. Just like he's a national treasure. I love this guy. Put him on every reality show ever known to man. Just I want him on every single. I don't want there to be another reality show that I don't see CT on. Sandra and Phaedra are playing chess together. She's making friends with the traitor because she said that's how she won Survivor. MJ said tonight will be the night down to winning and losing. She said that to Cherie, that tonight they both have to vote Phaedra out. She said that she has got to go. Cherie tells the camera that she's had my back, and if she's a traitor, she would be sick. Kate, obviously throwing things for a loop because she's standing there, says, I think Sandra's the traitor. And MJ is kind of befuddled, which is not really surprising. We've seen MJ quite befuddled quite a few times. And now she was like completely enamored at the idea that it was potential that Sandra could be a traitor. And she just kind of like made this about face, which was kind of hilarious. So inside, Trishelle pulls CT aside and says, hey, they see the writing on the wall. CT said Sandra and MJ might vote for Phaedra. Trishelle's mad because nobody listened to her over the last two managements, which is 100% true. Trishelle said she's ready to burn the place down and runs outside. She wants to go talk to the ladies. And CT, being CT, again, funniest man in the world, comes outside and like hides. Like, let's just say, hypothetically, this right here, I got my mic in my hand. Let's just say this is the pillar. This was him, like hiding behind the pillar. It's, again, hilarious little moment. It's just like off in the cut, listening behind a pillar, trying to figure things out. Trishelle said that they have made up their mind on the spot and has been spot on the last two managements. MJ said there's no way she's going to let a traitor walk away with their money. MJ says she's 100% part of them, talking about Trishelle. There's $129,750 in the pot. It's the last time a faithful can win a shield. They can win up to $30,000. But Alan said this will be their toughest competition yet. Their gold piece is worth $150 in a pile of dirt, and they must bring them across an unstable, like bridge style thing, these little blocks of things that they jump from one to one to one, and they waver back and forth, and put them on the scale. Any pieces lost along the way, they don't get to keep. That doesn't add to the overall total of the money. MJ tells the camera that her husband won't let her back in the house without bringing home any of the money. This was a hilarious competition. Had 20 minutes to get as much gold across this bridge as possible. And Phaedra was the first to go. She attempted and failed. Inside the dirt pile, everyone is trying to get the shield. Like everybody's piling out of the things and they're just trying to go through there. And like even like pitting at other people's areas, like, oh, that's suspicious behavior. It was quite funny. Trishelle was so close to getting it, yet MJ is the one. However, she must make it to the other side of she has to go through the entire bridge in order to get to the other side to claim the shield. She tries to do it, but fails miserably. Sandra has $900 in attempting to make it across and still doesn't. This was seriously so funny. I would love to genuinely see this entire thing played out completely. Like I would watch an entire episode of them continuously failing for 20 minutes over and over and over again, because it was hilarious. Like we're watching these people try to jump across these and it was miserable. Kate's turn. She said she grew up surfing and will make it across. She's like talking herself up. She has great balance, blah, blah, blah. And then boom, she falls. 5 minutes have passed and they didn't get a single dollar across yet. Of course, here comes competition team Trishelle and CT, who continuously just go back and forth collecting every ounce of money as they can. And just literally as they're collecting the money, like as they're going across, everybody just sitting there mucking it up, watching these two just go through the entire mission. It was one of the funniest things I've ever seen. Now we come down to the final minute. MJ has a shield. She must make it across to be able to claim that safety. Within 10 seconds to spare, she made it across. CT, the entire crowd was like really supportive of her, but CT was very vocal in cheering her on as she jumped across. The team, and I say the team loosely, really CT and Trishelle, were able to get $28,500 out of the $30,000, bringing their total to $158,100. That was pretty crazy right there. Good little competition, fun little competition. I liked it quite a bit. Everyone is talking up Phaedra, and Cherie said she isn't sure and needs to talk to her. Kate, CT, MJ are talking Traitors. Kate said she believes that they save Phaedra for the final day and get rid of Sandra. MJ said she doesn't trust Phaedra, but thinks Sandra could be a traitor. Sandra is looking on the inside, like everybody's kind of eating dinner or like eating food and stuff like that, with Kate, CT, and MJ kind of mucking it up a little bit. Sandra says, should I go outside and interrupt them? And of course, everybody eggs her on. Okay. She walks up and she goes out and interrupts them. She walks up and asks to join. CT says, come on in. Now, obviously, they were talking about her, so things get quickly quiet. Kate said, roll the dice and eliminate number 2. And then Sandra goes, well, who do you think that is? And Kate said, I can't think of anyone. Oh, why? Because the person that you were throwing under the bus was sitting right there. That entire scene was hilarious. Cherie sits and talks to Phaedra. Phaedra said it could be CT. Brings up Sandra and said she believes that she could trust her. Cherie says that she needs help. She basically looks at her and says, help me help you. She looks her in the face and asks her if she's a traitor. And Phaedra says no. She repeats herself. She says, no, I'm not a traitor. Phaedra was like, you could really see where this is kind of taking a toll on Phaedra, because it's like, you don't want to lie to somebody that you've known for 30 years right to their face. I mean, you kind of feel bad. $158,100 is on the line. They are at the table. Will they finally make the right decision? We've already had 2 people gone for this episode, both members of the Peter Pals, Peter and John. But will Phaedra's time finally come? Trishelle speaks up and says they're here to find traitors, and this is the time for this. She said that they've had when they've had Phaedra's name up, written down on things, she's been silent and she thought that was a red flag. Phaedra's like, this is the most ludicrous thing I've ever heard in my life. MJ speaks out, saying she's starting to notice things. Sandra follows suit. She said it will kill her if she ends up being a traitor, but all the signs are there. She's like, we finally have to see if Trishelle is right. I was watching this and I was literally blown away. Like, blown away. Because I was like, holy shit, it's finally happening. Like, she said it's a game, but hasn't done anything to get her name written down. And they've done, and so Phaedra says, it's a game. She said, and she hasn't done anything to deserve her name getting written down. They have nothing concrete against her. Cherie said she doesn't want to believe she's a traitor. Phaedra said we've been friends for 30 years and always transparent. Cherie asked for more, and Phaedra doesn't do anything. She says she's very exhausted and she is tired of fighting. Kate is pissed, even rolled her eyes whenever she said that, because she just expected her to kind of give it a fight back. But I just truly believe we were watching and witnessing somebody that was just exhausted. So, all right, the voting is happening, and I don't think it was fair that they kicked off with Cherie here, because she votes Phaedra. And I want to look. This sounds cheesy, you might be saying, but when I tell you this, kind of like sent chills down my spine. I was like, my God, this show is so good. They're finally crossing the box that they've been trying to do for like 3 episodes. Peter's been trying to put this in place, and Poverty and Trishelle and everybody else that has been eliminated along the way. I think Phaedra starts to see the writing on the wall. Kate votes for Phaedra, which was insane. However, this goes back to the old thing of traitor voting for a traitor. You have to really key in on making sure that you're not voting against the norm here. You're voting with everybody so that you're not making it yourself obvious to everybody. However, she said there isn't a person at the table she could stomach voting for. She said she is more selfish than skillful. Like, what a way to cut deep on your way out the door, she said. Phaedra said, selfish? Kate's like, yeah. That was just a weird flex here, overplaying your hand a little bit too much here. MJ votes for Phaedra. Phaedra's turn to vote. She said she's girl power and voted for CT, in which he calls her a sexist. Sandra votes for Phaedra. She says she has to play the game with her head and not her heart. It's happening. Trishelle votes Phaedra. CT votes Phaedra. He said, you came on here to be the opposite of who you see in real life, and you are the best traitor we've seen yet. Facts. All right. They did it. Phaedra has been eliminated from the competition. And of course, she says, heads over to the circle of truth, and she reveals that she is a faithful. She goes, Alan, I am the most fabulous, faithful. And everybody's like, and then she goes, traitor. Obviously, Sharia is heartbroken. Phaedra said she hopes that there's no hard feelings and wishes everyone luck. She tells the camera, she said Kate was getting a little personal, but it is what it is. Phaedra said to everyone, everyone who she wanted at the table is there. She's ready for a spa day and ready to get out of Scotland. Alan announces that they have survived another episode. Sorry about that. Took a sip, guys. Cherie said she was sad. Phaedra is gone, but she can't believe she conned me. But she said she played it to the T. Exactly. You can't be mad. You can't be mad. It might be your friend for 30 years. You can't be mad at her. Everyone is cheering. CT said he would like for the Faithfuls to win. Kate is ready to play and pin the tail on Sandra. MJ walks up to ask Kate about the selfish part of what she said about Phaedra. She says she started to hear things and listen to what everyone said, and now Sandra is attacking her. Sandra said attacking her made no sense, and she's beginning to think that she could be a traitor. Again, what was the purpose? You literally showed your hand to everybody in that moment. You know what I mean? I feel like everybody that has like went to eliminate a traitor, they've overplayed their hand. And to me, this was wild. I couldn't believe it. I don't know. I really feel strongly that the traitors might do this, because I feel like it's going to be like attack on Kate. So is it going to come down to Kate versus Sandra? I don't really know. Next week's going to be crazy. One thing's for sure is next week's episode, we have a double jam-packed episode. We have the episode that we're going to break down, the finale, and then we're going to have a reunion that's going to be just as toasty. So I'm excited to break down next week's episode. It's going to be a long one. Let's buckle up and brace for it. But this has been a great season of The Traitors. I just want to thank everybody for tuning into this episode and every episode of this season of The Traitors. I'm excited for next week. Like I said, I'm going to be doing a live show, having some people join me. I do have an interview hopefully coming up next week that you guys should hear this week with another member of the Traitors Season 2 cast. But thank you guys so much for listening. I will be back next week.